guys could turn around and introduce yourselves again.
I'm Courtney.
I'm Simon.
Angel?
Adrian.
Alright, thanks. Did you know that one of the most influential people to the scientific community is someone you've never heard about before? Rosalind Franklin made substantial contributions to the research concerning DNA, coal, and viruses, but your history and science textbooks probably failed to mention her name. In this speech, I will tell you about Rosalind Franklin's early life, her contributions to research, why her research was swept under the rug, and the impact her research has had today. Rosalind was born in 1920 in London, England, and she knew by the age of 15 that she wanted to be a scientist. Her father also wanted to be a scientist, but his education was cut short because of World War I, so he settled for being a college professor. Rosalind was accepted to Cambridge University, but her father didn't believe that women should be educated, so her aunt had to end up paying for her schooling. She studied chemistry while she was there. After graduating, she got a scholarship for graduate research, and she ended up studying under Ronald George Rayford Nourish for DNA extraction. However, he wasn't very supportive of his only female student, according to the DNA Learning Center, so she quickly left her fellowship and ended up studying for the British Coal Utilization Research Association. While there, she made substantial contributions to the research in coal, and this was very important as it was World War II, so any research concerning how effectively coal could be used was super important to the war efforts. She eventually took a job in Paris, and that's where she learned how to extract DNA and use X-ray technology. She decided that she wanted to continue her scientific and academic career in London, so she moved from Paris back to King's College, where she did research with her partner Maurice Wilkins. These two butted heads a lot, though. Rosalind was very straightforward and decisive, whereas Wilkins was very shy and indecisive, so they didn't work very well together. Rosalind had figured out how to extract fine DNA, finer than any scientist had before her, and this was where she made her groundbreaking discovery. According to the publication Broadcasting Services, she found out that DNA was in the shape of a double helix. Now, at the time, which was around 1940 to 1945-ish, there was a basically international race to discover the structure of DNA, and Rosalind beat everyone to it. But Wilkins shared her discovery without her consent or her knowledge with two other scientists named Francis Crick and James Watson. They had theorized that DNA was in the shape of a double helix, but they hadn't actually done the research to prove it before. Rosalind even explained her research to them in parts without showing them the images of it, but they admitted to not even listening to her because they thought she was an inferior scientist because of her gender. So, after being upset with Wilkins for sharing her research without her knowledge or consent, and the overall sexist attitude of her research partners, for example, they want to let her eat lunch with them in the room because she was a woman, she decided to move once again, and she did the rest of her studying at London Birkbeck College. From there, she wrapped up her DNA research and went back to researching coal and other viruses. Eventually, she found out on a trip to America that she had ovarian cancer. Now, this hasn't been confirmed yet, but many people theorize that because she worked so closely with X-ray diffraction equipment, she developed her ovarian cancer because of all the radiation exposure with the equipment that she used. She ended up dying at the age of 37 in 1958, and even though she passed away long ago, her contributions are still very substantial to the scientific community today. The United States National Library of Medicine said that she wrote 21 papers about viruses, 19 about coal, and 5 about DNA extraction. And this was all in her 37 years of life. Most people don't do this, and they have twice her age on them. So in conclusion, Rosalind Franklin was one of the greatest scientists and students of her time, but history doesn't really know her name. What ended up happening was Watson, Crick, and Wilkins ended up publishing her work under their names, and they even received a Nobel Prize for it. But since the Nobel Prize Committee doesn't give out posthumous awards, she was never credited for any of her research. They just took it all and claimed it as their own. So despite all of her contributions to the scientific community, her name was kind of swept under the rug because her contributions weren't credited as her own. But if today, now that we know what we do know about her, the more we bring up her name in conversation and the more we make an effort to let everyone else know about what she did, we could come just a step closer to fully honoring her in the way that she deserves. Thank you. If you guys could turn around again and say your names into the camera.
I'm Courtney.
I'm Simon.
I'm Angel.
I'm Adrian.
All right, thanks you guys.